What's up, future Shred Lords? Welcome back. Down to the fingers. Sorry about missing you yesterday. Essentially, I was feeling under the weather, so it was nap time. But we're back on Friday with a vengeance. So let's get into this bad boy. Essentially, practicing in one key, good, right? But obviously, practicing in two keys, much, much, much better. Not only do you get more ear training in there, but you work your mind more because you have to flip-flop between two different positions mentally. And that's like throwing an extra 3 or 4 balls in there, if you will, throwing it up, start messing around with the techniques and whatnot. And then all of a sudden you're just like, madness. Can I play with it? So, I mean, you got to start jumping in there with both feet and just getting it done. So in this case, in the first one, it's A minor, right? So that's the chord, A minor. And if I think of A minor as like a perfect sort of world, that's going to be the C major scale, isn't it? Right? C major's 6th degree is A. So that gives me A minor, right? But A minor is also the 2nd degree of G major. You could also say it's the 3rd degree of what? Moving back one more time. F major, nails it, right? So you have those 3 keys, but in this case, the G major one and the C major one, because that's basically 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, depending on how you look at it. Basically, any collection of the 1, 4, 5 is going to sound pretty damn good. But I think you're getting the point here. Now there's this weird synergy that starts happening musically naturally, right? And you can take advantage of that. And then, of course, practicing it, like I said, trains your ear. Now, in this case, I'm using more of a scalar approach. And at the end, you'll see me do it again with arpeggios. As far as the practice thing goes, clearly doing some scale stuff is great for warming up and whatnot, but the arpeggio workout really, when you're using the dominant 7 inversions, is going to be where it's at. It's the sort of like full body workout, plus mentally speaking, it's very challenging. So I was like seriously struggling and you can tell. So, but I still threw it up there because that's the important thing is like, again, speed of mind. It's not just about playing these scale shapes and the arpeggios really fast. It's how fast can you connect these ideas together using those 2 keys, right? Do a different one. What if you had D major and D7, right? That's 1 in 5, obviously, right? We did 2 in 6. Which is Dorian and Aeolian with A minor, right? Obviously, there's G major, the key for the A Dorian position. And then, of course, you have A minor as the pentatonic and the Aeolian position leading into C major. So you're seeing those 2 things basically superimposed over top of each other and then combining them in ways to basically make it sound nice. Because when you're playing in the key of C major and it's basically around G, it's going to have more tension in it or vice versa, right? So one kind of has to lead to the other, set it up and then flip-flap back and forth. Kind of like using major and dominant 7 or minor and diminished, how there's this resolution process. That's the practice value. Sure, I could sit here and be like, oh, practice this, but you have to practice mentally envisioning it in your mind so that when you're, configuring your fingers on the fretboard and whatnot and playing these ideas, they basically end in the right place. You're like, okay, that's how you do it. There is no lesson for that. You have to mentally seek it out and be like, okay, I'm going to start here. I'm going to add some tension. Then I'm going to dive back into the original idea and end it off. That's something you have to just practice using the scale forms, right? But make it musical sort of in the same sense that I was trying to play it musically there with that improv. And again, notice I'm improving. It's in the moment, immediate to work my mind. If I'm just playing rehashed sort of like, ideas and whatnot or canned licks or whatever it is, part of your brain goes to sleep. Very bad. So you can combat that by essentially just playing in the moment. And last but not least, start off with some scales and stuff just to warm yourself up and whatnot. And then, have a little choke session like I do with the arpeggios and try to get that going. And again, you're looking for speed of mind here, the combinations. And I wimped out at the end because I'm like, I'm very weak right now. I'm barely getting through these arpeggios. I better scale down. But ultimately, the end result was pretty cool, I guess, in its own sort of silly way. But the real sort of lesson here is that you're trying to, again, connect one from C major with one from A minor. Or sorry, one from C major with one with G major, right? Right next to each other, creating synergy and that resolution process. You know what I'm saying? So let's say you're starting on the 3rd degree of the G major scale, right? So you might start off with, say, like the E minor, right? But then moving down to the 5th fret, and basically that would be either the Dorian position or Aeolian. From there, you might move into something else, right? Based on one of those two shapes, whether it was a minor 7, or you can do dominant 7 or minor 7 flat 5 is there, or there are other ones too, but we won't get into them all, right? So as you can see, there's a lot of options, and then it's a question of you sort of messing around with them until you get a feel for them to be like, this is when I use these two here over this type of chord. When I'm hearing it, that really tension-filled diminished chord, I use this. But this one over here, the major, I use the other ones. And oh, that one over there for the dominant 7, I'm going to use this cool, funkier dominant 7 variant, which also works over the major. So it's kind of up to me when I want to use it. Do I want to make it spicier? Or I just want to keep it vanilla. That's stuff that no lesson can teach you. You have to train your mind to be like, I want to do that, make a decision in a split second and basically play it. A little bit more challenging than they make it out to be when you're watching the videos. And that's why I'm making these videos, showing you that, working up to, getting back into tip-top shape playing and whatnot. What you have to do is basically train your mind too. I had a big hiatus there. So I was like, it's a perfect opportunity for me to retrain my mind to be like, do these other things. Instead of just constantly working in one key, now start combining them together. Am I going to superimpose the arpeggios together? I'm going to group them, do like dominant 7 to minor 7 flat 5 or diminished. You know what I mean? Like put some conditions on what it is that you're actually going to practice and then just go for it. If you happen to be good in the key of G major, then I just told you, using the key of C major to superimpose all the other arpeggios on top, get her done. And if you have to start with the first one and be like, if I start on this 5th degree here, D7, which one can I play over top of that would synergize nicely from C major? You'd be like, oh, at that D position, the 2nd degree there in C, that's Aeolian, or Dorian, I can play this minor 7 variant, which would give you the A minor 7 variant over top of it, incidentally. So there it is. You know what I'm saying? That's the lesson. And then, of course, improvise, not because you want to be a rock star, because you want to train for speed of mind to put these ideas together, but it's focused. It's not random. What you're doing, it was on purpose. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you. Watch the end here for the arpeggio sequence. Get your booties on and get playing. See you in the next one.